Very good Friday morning to everyone out there across the Wobbles community and beyond. Thanks for tuning in. Landon here with you to bring you your weather or night forecast courtesy of On Target. Folks, all focus is on the upcoming weekend with a potential major winter storm that's setting sights across the great Commonwealth of Kentucky. We got a variety of impacts coming along with a variety of winter weather precipitation that could be joining in on the party. We're going to jump in and break this down step by step. And first and foremost, we got to get started with what's taking place out there early this morning. We've got a cold front, this little clipper system that's diving south and east through the region early on this Friday. This area of low pressure is going to continue to track off to the east. This is bringing a rather strong cold front east through the region as we speak. And as this scoots on to the south and east, we've had some scattered light to moderate rain showers out there this morning. That's going to clear out. We should get some breaks of sunshine throughout the day. But folks, this area of high pressure is going to be swinging in here behind this front. We got this secondary front trying to dive down out of the Great Lakes as well. That's going to be bringing us winds throughout today on the cusp of 15, 25 miles an hour. It's going to keep it rather cold, folks, and then that's going to settle in here out of the north and west to bring even colder conditions on our Saturday. That's going to set us up for that potential winter storm that will be impacting the region late Saturday night, lasting all the way into the Monday time frame, right? Getting a look across the region out there, we have got the wet pavement overlooking the D93 sky cam in downtown Bowling Green. I'll be chopping up the weekend weather, talking it up with the Tony Rose right around the 7:30 a.m. hour. You can check us out on the radio dials and streaming services. We can jog off up to the north and west. Beechtree News Sky Cam overlooking Morgantown. Got the wet pavement up there as well with the light rain showers. That is tracked east across the region. Temperatures sitting well above freezing this morning. We're located anywhere between the mid and upper 30s region-wide. We're going to be holding highs pretty much where we're at, folks. These northwest winds that are going to be coming in here behind the cold front here very shortly is going to be pegging wind chills down to the 20s at times throughout the day. So despite some breaks of sunshine later in the day, don't be deceived. You're going to want the winter wardrobe if you're heading out for any particular reason. Here's a better look at the latest surface map. Wanted to show you a better illustration. The cold front shifting to our east, the area of high pressure is going to jolt in, reinforcing the cold air, and then all eyes are, of course, on the deepening low pressure system. It's going to be coming out from the Great Plains and impacting our region as we work a little bit later and into the weekend, all right? So let's not waste any more time, folks. Let's jump right into the model guidance and give you the full breakdown of what we're looking at. Taking a look at the temperature profiles, you can see we've hit right around the mid and upper 30s this morning. As previously mentioned, folks, this is pretty much going to be our highs for today. They've already been achieved. We'll warm up a bit this afternoon, holding constant right around the low and mid 30s region-wide. And then we get into the overnight, folks. Winds turn in here out of the north and east throughout our Saturday. And you can see the colder air that is going to be settling in. By sunrise tomorrow, will be anywhere between the upper teens, lower 20s. Only going to make it to right around the freezing mark tomorrow afternoon for highs. And then we get the reinforcing jolt of colder air again with our weather maker moving in here from the west. By onset of the initial precipitation, we are expecting to be at or below freezing. So we've got a complicated mess on our hands, folks. There's no other way to put it. We're going to be looking at a variety of precipitations. It's going to be meandering and changing up between the pre-dawn hours of Sunday, then on into Sunday afternoon, then again Sunday night into Monday. This is not going to be a fun forecast, all right? So let's break down our precipitation here and taking a look at what's going to be unfolding. But first and foremost, I want to give you all the broad range view. This deepening low is where all of our eyes are located on. The exact track of the low will be the determining and dictating factor on what type of precipitation we receive and how much of that precipitation that we get in here. Here we are progressing throughout the overnight on Saturday, and here we are working into the mid-morning hours of our Saturday, all right? Working into mid-morning on into the lunchtime time frame. This is the setup that we've been looking at here over the past several days. This is a typical winter weather setup for this time of year. You got the deep southerly flow with a warm conveyor belt bringing in the warm, moist air. And then we got the sub-freezing layer of air right along and north of the warm front that's going to be picked up and dumped over that sub-freezing layer. Now, if you want the bullseye for snow, folks, you want to be on the north and west side of the low. And you can see here, looking at the latest model guidance, we're going to be splitting the difference with this low riding right along, it would appear, the Kentucky and Tennessee state line, which obviously presents issues for us, all right? Make no bones about it. I know I mentioned it a few times, folks. This forecast is just an absolute pain in the ass in layman terms, all right? That's the pure breakdown, the purest form of it that I can explain it here. And we can show you here a little bit closer view of what we're talking about. Here we are working throughout our Saturday. We get into Saturday night. We're going to be precipitation free, all right? We're going to get loads of sunshine in here tomorrow, but then clouds on the uptick very quickly throughout our Saturday night. And we're looking at initial onset, folks, at some point between roughly 3 and 6 a.m. on Sunday morning. We are expected to be below freezing at this point in time, and you can see just this absolute mixed bag of precip between freezing rain and sleet and plain Jane rain that's going to be transitioning here across the region. Right now, with what we're looking at in the short-term model guidance, as we can see here, the initial onset looks to be sleet and freezing rain of what we're going to have to deal with here. And then very quickly, as we work into Sunday afternoon, we get what's referred to as a warm nose that's going to get drawn up right ahead of the surface low, and that's going to infiltrate our region out of the south. That warm nose is known to cut down on snow totals and ice accumulation as well. That's the good news. So hopefully we get a legit period of plain Jane rain in here throughout the Sunday time frame. But again, folks, unfortunately, this is where a few question marks still reside, all right? We're seeing here right around the lunchtime hour, model soundings are still suggesting freezing rain. But by this point in time, folks, right now, highs on Sunday afternoon are forecast anywhere between the low and mid 40s. It's going to be very difficult to get any sort of wintry precipitation with readings at that valuation. You can see here as we go back to the broad range view, we have the initial round here that arrives in the form of precipitation and freezing rain and ice. Then we transition over to rain, and folks, dare I say it, maybe a stray rumble of thunder coming in here on Sunday afternoon. And then as we work into Sunday night on into Monday, we get another transition back over to freezing rain, and then a little dousing of snow right here on top of it on the back side as we enter the pre-dawn hours of our Monday morning. And then that weather maker finally pulls off to the east, and then this reinforcing Arctic high jolts down here out of the north and west and locks in frigid cold conditions here across the region beginning Thursday and taking us through a good chunk of the week, all right? So anything that we get on the ground here in the Sunday to Monday time frame, Monday we're expected again to hit above freezing. But then, folks, from Tuesday on, we're looking at highs in the mid and upper 20s on Tuesday, upper teens, lower 20s as we get into Wednesday and Thursday with single digits for overnight lows. This is bringing a variety of concerns, especially if we get any significant icing out of this, folks. With power outages, that will be a possibility if we have to deal with any downed trees or power lines. Hopefully we don't, but unfortunately that is a possibility that we have to put on the table, all right? Now, types of precipitation and what model trends are showing, we've had a slight jog south, but I'm not overly impressed by it, especially with the typical warm nose factor that we have to deal with these weather makers. This is our probability of seeing snowfall of at least 1 inch over a 24-hour period. This is valid for Sunday at lunchtime. Then we get into Sunday evening. Then we get into the pre-dawn hours of Monday, and then we hit sunrise at 6 a.m. on Monday whenever temps will still be below freezing. And you can see, folks, we're splitting the uprights on getting roughly 1 inch of snowfall on the ground. So it's pegging a 55% probability right across the heart of wobbles Closer down here to the Tennessee state line, roughly a 30% probability. And the northern tier of Butler and Edmonson counties, higher on the totem pole at 70 to 80% probability. Now, wait, there's more. Not just with the snowfall, folks, but this is the higher concern, and this is our freezing rain probabilities over a 24-hour period. This is valid for freezing rain of the magnitude of at least 1/10 of an inch, all right? So whenever we get the freezing rain in here, folks, take a look at what the latest models have spit out, and I'm not a fan. By the time we roll into 6 a.m. on Sunday morning, it is basically bullseye, a corridor stretching from right across the Wobbles community, points northward right along and just south of I-64 to where the heaviest icing would occur, and that just isn't any good whatsoever. If we see significant icing out of this, folks, of the magnitude of 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of ice accretion on power lines and trees, we got another factor that's going to be coming in with this on the backside of the low as we get into Monday. If we get that much ice creating that much weight, all right, on our infrastructure, with our power lines, our electric stations, on trees as well, on the backside of the low, you can throw in 30 to 40 plus mile an hour wind gusts that's going to be coming in on the backside of this. You all know what that equation equates to. We could be dealing with power outages, you know, region-wide. We could be dealing with some instances of downed trees, hopefully not, but potentially on houses, residential houses, apartments, things of that nature. We just need to be prepared ahead of time, folks. Get your kerosene heaters or whatever needs to be done as a just in case, because we are right on the line, folks, of receiving a significant icing event, or we could get all plain Jane rain and a few thunderstorms in here. And if the track takes us throughout the day with the southern track, we'd be getting in on more snow out of this. So again, folks, I wish that we could be more clear with exactly what we're receiving, but as we speak, that weather maker and that low pressure system is just now coming on shore in the Pacific North and West. So hopefully we get a much better idea with the cams coming into the picture as well, to where we can help nail down exactly what we're expecting out of this complicated weather maker, all right? It is worth noting and mentioning, folks, take a look at what's been put out by the Storm Prediction Center. We've got severe weather risks now that have been expanded all the way up through western Tennessee, up into far western Kentucky as well. And that's where we've seen the low pressure system that just really can't make up its mind on what side of the Kentucky-Tennessee state line this thing is going to reside. If we displace that surface low 30 to 50 miles off to our north, we could get in on somewhat of even a severe weather risk, dare I say it. But again, in turn, if you flip the coin on the other side, if we move that low down further to the south, we're going to get in on heavier snow and ice totals, which we don't want, all right? So it's a who's who of what we're dealing with here of any sort of significant impactful weather, dealing from severe weather over to the toss of a coin of the rain and or snow and ice chances as well. Probabilistic snowfall forecast. This is an experimental guidance, folks, so take it with a grain of salt. But you can see not much in the terms of snowfall, with current model guidance showcasing Covington, the Cincinnati region, stretching down to the Louisville metro over to Lexington and points northward, gets absolutely walloped with snow, with lesser amounts in the magnitude of a dusting to an inch or two down here in and around our vicinity. Now for the graphic I really don't want to show you, but I have to. How about the storm total ice accumulation? Look at that. Readings up from a 1/100th of an inch to a 1/10th of an inch of ice, and then not very far away from us, folks, right there across portions of Grayson County, Ohio County, expecting up to at least a 1/4 of an inch of ice, pushing further up into the Louisville metro, a 1/2 inch of ice total accumulation. Folks, if you put that on trees and power lines, those things are going to come down. And why this is so dangerous is we're still watching the exact track of the low. You can see here, folks, if you displace that ice corridor as little as 20, 30, 50 miles to the south, we're immediately going to be in play on the heavier ice accumulations. So hopefully we get a little bit better solution as we work throughout the day. But folks, long story short, Confidence is high that we're going to be dealing with an impactful winter storm late in the weekend on into the early days of next week. I want to give you the full breakdown from our local National Weather Service office. Our partners up at the National Weather Service in Louisville has been churning the midnight oil. Here's the latest graphics that they put out, and you can see across the southern half of the Wobbles community, they're having a mix of sleet over to freezing rain and then plain rain as we work throughout our Sunday, and then a change back over yet again. For folks up in Edmonton and Butler County, it's got more of an ice and freezing rain mix that we're going to have to deal with there. With points northward, ice and snow, and mainly snow whenever you get well north of the region there, closer into Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio as well. The current winter storm headlines that are out, and I'm expecting many more to be issued or altered as we get later into the day. We just have Edmonton County and Butler County included in a winter storm watch. But you'll note there, folks, with the ellipse that they've put out with the white coloration right there, that white ellipse that includes Edmonton County and Butler County, they have that tag with the lowest confidence of what could come to fruition with what the models are showing, okay? So numerous question marks still coming along with this, but there is high confidence that a major winter storm is going to be impacting the great Commonwealth of Kentucky, so that is what we're going to have to keep close eyes on. It comes as no surprise whenever it comes to moderate overall winter storm impacts, those across northern Kentucky, stretching over towards Union County, over towards Meade County, up into the Louisville Metro is where the heaviest impacts are anticipated. Lesser extent down where we are, folks, because again, the low is meandering right there along the line to where we're going to get a good chunk of our Sunday with just plain Jane rain and a few thunderstorms to come along with it. Timing-wise, our eyes are on the bottom of the graphic there across southern Kentucky. We're expecting a wintry mix throughout the pre-dawn hours of our Sunday morning. Sunday afternoon and evening, all rain, as well as a good chunk throughout our Sunday night, and then a brief changeover to that wintry mix and back over to snow Monday morning before it finally pulls out of the region. Folks, here's your full breakdown of your next 6-day weather forecast, brought to you by Ohio Valley Insurance. Clouds gradually decreasing as the day wears on, with some more sunshine breaking out, but don't be deceived. Mid and upper 30s for highs, northwest winds 15 to 30 miles an hour throughout the day. Even colder on Saturday, low to mid 30s for highs, and then the wintry mix arrives with overnight lows in the lower 20s Saturday night. Sunday, see folks, this is why this is such a pain. Low to mid 40s for highs on Sunday afternoon, and then dipping all the way back down to the mid and upper 20s on Sunday night. Low to mid 30s on Monday with cloud cover, snow early on, but then gradually breaking up as the day wears on, and then the bottom drops out. Upper 20s, lower 30s for Tuesday, mid and upper 20s for highs on Wednesday. Possibility of single-digit lows Wednesday night as well as Thursday night here across the Wobbles community. Folks, it's going to wrap up your Friday morning weather or not forecast, brought to you by On Target. Save that number right there, folks, in case you run into any emergencies. Their hotline is open 24/7 for anything that you may need, from any water breaks, flooding concerns, as well as, God forbid, we have any trees that are down on our power lines and on houses, residential areas as well. You all take care of yourselves, take care of each other. As always, with weather or not, we'll be right here on the forefront with you throughout the entire weekend, bringing you frequent updates as necessary. Please stay aware. Check in on your neighbors, your friends, and your family. Make for sure that they are weather aware as well.